Everyone, Ruth Coleman here with the Jonah Inheritance, and I have some exciting news that I want to share with you. We are going to Nigeria on a medical missions trip, and I need your help. Before I tell you why, I want to tell you a little story about what happened to me a few days ago. So a few days ago, I went to get my blood work drawn. I have not been feeling well ever since I contracted COVID a year ago. That's morphed into long haul COVID. On top of the other health issues, between being a mother, running a nonprofit, a wife, and completing my doctoral program, my health, if I'm honest, I just put it on the back burner. But I graduated and said, you know what? I need to make sure that I'm okay. So I went to the doctor, gave me a lab slip, and so I'm getting my blood drawn. And so I went to your friendly neighborhood LabCorp to get my blood drawn. And every time I go to LabCorp, we go through this sequence of events. I tell the individual that's drawing my blood, I am a difficult draw. Why? Because I have a lot of scar tissue, I have really small veins, and you need a butterfly needle to draw my blood. A butterfly needle is one of the smallest needles that are used to draw blood. It's usually done with children or individuals with really small veins. And so normally they either believe me or not. In this case, she just kind of was looking at me very suspect and was like, well, we don't have any butterfly needles. We only have regular needles, but I'm pretty sure we can draw your blood. So I said, okay, this is going to be interesting. So she proceeds to go through the process that one goes through to draw your blood. And she's looking for a vein and she can't find it. So after a little bit, she looks at me and she says, I'm not confident in my ability to draw your blood. She said, I'm going to get somebody who's more seasoned to do this. I said, I appreciate that. Thank you. Person comes and they go through the same process. We all go through the same process. I tell them. She says, well, we're all out of butterfly needles all throughout LabCorp right now. We don't have any, but I'm going to do my best. So she goes through the process. She tries this arm. She's digging in there, can't find a vein, stops because it was painful. I was about to pass out. She tries the other arm, same results. Decides she's going to try my hand, which if anybody has gotten their blood drawn on their hand, it's pretty painful. She found a vein, but she was like, this is perfect for a butterfly needle. They don't have one. So she tries right here. Painful, and still didn't get anything. So she says, I feel like I'm torturing at this point, which she really was. And she said, I'm going to call around to see if anybody has one. There's one 45 minutes away that you can go to. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm not driving 45 minutes. She says, well, there's this one that's 20 minutes. I said, well, let's try that one. She calls them. They have one butterfly needle left. So I get in my car, drive 25 minutes, which is on the opposite end of where I live. I go to LabCorp. And I go through the same sequence that I went with the other two. I tell this individual, I'm a difficult draw. My veins are really small. I have a lot of scar tissue. He says, don't worry, I got you. I said, okay. He says, well, you're lucky. There's only one butterfly needle left. I don't know what we're going to do with anybody else that comes through. I said, well, jokingly, I then say, hey, you got one chance. He says, don't worry, I got you. That's what he said. So he begins to go through the process, puts a tourniquet on, is now tapping, and he's like, oh my goodness, you are difficult to draw blood from. I did tell you that. So he couldn't find a vein, decides to go to the normal way, where there's a lot of scar tissue, puts the butterfly needle in. He can't get anything. He's digging in there, moving. I mean, it is painful. And I'm about to pass out, and he can see that. And so he says, you know what? He pulls it out and he's like, well, that was the last one. Do you trust me to try it again with a regular needle? And in my mind, I'm thinking, no, I don't trust you, but I'm going to just try and pull through because I don't want to come back and I need this blood work drawn because if I'm honest, it was already 3 weeks past when my doctor gave it to me. So he decides to go on my right arm, and after several tries, he finally gets it. So I leave LabCorp bandaged up and pretty painful and was really dizzy, but I got my blood drawn. And this whole ordeal I went through because they were missing one item, and that was a butterfly needle. And I'm tying this back to this medical trip. In Nigeria, doctors do not have the medical supplies that they need to take care of their patients. Most doctors are working with extremely limited supplies. And here's the thing. Doctors need to be able to diagnose you in order to treat you. And in order to diagnose you, they need certain information that's either they get through labs, their regular checkups, or imaging. In Nigeria, most doctors don't have that. And so for our medical trip, what we learned from last year was that the biggest single denominator to help improve care is providing physicians with the medical equipment that they need. And so we're bringing medical equipment and supplies on this medical trip. We're also training physicians to be able to perform certain procedures long after we're gone. So what's the goal on this trip? We're going to do 45 surgeries. That means 45 patients who have ruptured eardrums and lost their hearing will regain it back. Individuals with cancer will be able to get the cancer removed. Kids with tonsillitis will be able to get their tonsils removed, and so much more. We're also training 4 to 5 ENT physician in specialized surgery so that they can do this long after we're gone. And lastly, we're certifying 48 medical staff in basic life support techniques so that they can save somebody's life. So I'm raising $4,000 to go on this trip. This $4,000 covers tickets, travel, and lodging, food, everything that comes with a medical trip for an individual. And I will be leading a team that will be bringing hope and healing to Nigerians that need it and equipping Nigerian doctors with the medical supplies and the training that they need so they can provide high quality medical care, all in Jesus' name. And you can be a part of it. I just need 40 people to give $100, 80 people to give $50, or you can give more. And this is all so that you can help doctors take care of their patients, and so that patients don't have to go through angst and anxiety and pain just so that they can feel better.